I was saying just before we cut off that, it's a big opportunity for the likes of Shane Duffy, Diego Laxalt and, Albin Ayeti, players like that who haven't yet won a trophy for Celtic. So as much as this is an achievement for previous teams in terms of the quadruple treble, it's also one very much for this current Celtic team, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems kind of daft to put any kind of pressure on someone who's only played for two full games before, but David Turnbull is one of those new guys who I think could be absolutely key in this game. But between him, possibly Ismail Soro, I imagine we'll get onto that. Diego Laxalt, he's more than capable. Yeah, it's a really interesting team we're going to be playing. A real mix of experience and youth, and just some fresh faces. So we'll see how they rise to the occasion. Obviously, it's very different without fans there, but there's a lot of them are players that have played big games before, and this is just another one.
Indeed, right. Well, we get on to the teams then, because this is the exciting bit we're all looking forward to, Euan. We've got your team, we've got my team, and then rather tragically, we've got Neil Lennon's probable team. Right, talk us through your team then, Euan. We've got it there. I'm trying to look for kind of the main talking points. There's probably an obvious one there. You've not got Mohamed Elyounoussi in your side. What's the thinking there?
Well, I was just looking back at the last game against Kilmarnock where we played this 3-4-2-1, this sort of Christmas tree formation, and I thought Elyounoussi was good. But I imagine given his impact over the last few years, especially the last two or so, I think Lennon will be looking to shoehorn Christie in, and I can see him playing as a sort of second number 10 alongside David Turnbull. I think Elyounoussi shown his impact when he's come on as a sub. For example, against St Johnstone, he saved a draw for us. And I do think he's a good option off the bench, but I still don't think he's 100% fit. I think it's a really, really big game, and I think there will be, and it's not all about Scott Brown, obviously, but I think there will be loyalty to the players who've got us there. And I think Ryan Christie is a big player for Neil Lennon, so I'm pragmatically guessing that he'll be in the team ahead of Elyounoussi, but that could be completely wrong. I'm sure people will tell me.
Yeah, a lot of your team's quite similar to mine. We'll put mine up on screen now. You see the differences there. I've gone Ryan Christie's in my team as well, but I've got Ryan Christie on the right hand side as opposed to the left, where you kind of feel that Lennon will shoehorn him in. And I've gone for Elyounoussi. We've both got Soro in our teams. What are the chances of Ismaila Soro actually starting the game?
Do you want a percentage, or do you want a fraction, or what do you want here?
I usually like pies or pizzas.
A pie. Okay, we'll go for a slice of pizza out of the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know how likely it is, but I mean, obviously Scott Brown's done so much for Celtic, especially as we reach this quadruple treble, which still sounds absolutely insane to say out loud. I don't think Soro will start, but I think he should. And I think there's this strange idea that if Scott Brown doesn't start the game, that he won't be involved at all. I don't think that's the case. I think Bruni will see game time, and if provided we win, fingers crossed, then he'll be the one lifting the trophy. I think if Celtic really want to establish dominance early on, Lennon should start with Soro. He gives that the midfield real energy, especially alongside Callum McGregor, who I think has looked better alongside him than Scott Brown. So I don't think it's entirely likely, no. But I think in purely footballing terms, on current form, Soro should be the man that starts. But there's a lot of fans saying that.
Have you met one Celtic fan that's saying Scott Brown should be starting? Because tell me if you have met one. I've certainly not.
There've been a few. I think it really has divided the support, because it is a heart versus head thing, and Scott Brown's been absolutely. He's been colossal for Celtic, especially, as I say, in this sort of trophy haul. So I can absolutely understand the rationale for playing him, and I don't think I'm not going to call anyone out for suggesting that he should start, but I do think Soro should be the man who gets in ahead of him.
I agree completely with what you said in terms of Callum McGregor, because I think Callum McGregor's a much better player when Soro is in the team, because Soro does a lot more of the work in terms of a defensive sense than Scott Brown actually does. and it means that Callum McGregor doesn't have to do that as much from the way I'm looking at it anyway. And it also means players like David Turnbull can get more involved in the game. I think we'll see Turnbull start. I don't think we'll see Sorrell. Let's do it then. Neil Lennon, predicted 11. That's a kind of weird way. That's me predicting what Neil Lennon's going to pick for the game. Scott Bain in goals. Christopher Ayer at right back, which interestingly everyone kind of seems to be thinking is going to be the case. Shane Duffy and Christopher Julian centre backs, with Laxalt at left back. Scott Brown, Callum McGregor in the midfield. Ryan Christie on the right. David Turnbull, El Yunusi on the left, and then Odsonne Edouard up top. Is there any of those that were taken for granted, Euan, that maybe aren't going to happen? I'm talking about Christopher Ayer at right back and Odsonne Edouard up top. Are those gimmies, or is there any chance that we could see Frimpong at right back with Christie in front of him and maybe Ayer into the centre?
I think it's important to remember that the last game was our first clean sheet in God knows how long. I think maybe since the semi-final against Aberdeen. So for me, Ayer at right back is a no-brainer. I think he's really good there. He also, from a tactical point of view, he does allow Frimpong to sort of maraud without having to do any defensive stuff. Shane Duffy, you wouldn't have put in the team 3 weeks ago, but he won 13 of his aerial duels against Killie. And I think against Hearts, that's going to be a really important factor, his aerial ability, especially the threat that Liam Boyce carries and Hearts' kind of reliance on using the wings. Especially when they're going to be in counter-attacking situations, they'll be looking to spray out wide and cross in. So having Shane Duffy in the team 3 weeks ago would have sounded preposterous, but he's in there, and I think most fans would want him in there, which is quite a turnaround. But yeah, Edouard, he didn't have the best game last week. He had 4 shots, and obviously converted none of them. He needs to be more clinical with his chances, but I think these are the absolute occasions for Odsonne Edouard. He loves playing at HAMPDEN, and he loves playing against Hearts. So any kind of repeat of the last Scottish Cup final would be amazing. I think you will see Lee Griffiths come on at some point now. Again, I think in terms of the occasion, I think Lee Griffiths could bring quite a lot, especially if we're floundering kind of late on. If it's still 0-0 with maybe 60, 70 minutes gone, I would expect to see Lee Griffiths come in for one of the midfield and play with 2 up front in the latter stages of the game. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what you should expect. I think you got it bang on.
Odsonne Edouard's got a really good record against Hearts as well, doesn't he? You think back to the late winner at Tynecastle and the winner in the cup final. In fact, both goals in the cup final last time out. Yeah, we've got a few good comments in here. Just remember, by the way, we've got super chat and super stickers in operation now on 67 Hail Hail, the kind of sentences you never thought you'd be saying in 2020. But that's what we've got, so if people want to get involved that way. Few ones in there. Chris Tully, hi Chris. Hopefully winning a cup final will be the confidence boost the team needs. I think especially with that lot bottling another shot at a trophy earlier this week. We do have an opportunity to win something and to show our players, I touched on it earlier, what it means to win something for Celtic. We've got a Celtic team in there. Well, I read it all out. Barkas, Ayer, Duffy, Julian, Laxalt, McGregor, Sorrell, David Turnbull, Frimpong, El Yunusi, Edouard. Is that the same team as me? No, it's not, because the Frimpong's in there. It's a kind of hybrid. Oh, Barkas as well. I didn't even notice that. It's a kind of hybrid of our teams, to be honest. Frimpong in it, but also El Yunusi in it as well. What about Hearts then, Euan? Sorry if I'm chucking you in at the deep end, but you did tell me earlier this week that you were meeting somebody to hear all about the Jambos. So did that meeting happen? And if so, what did you learn?
I can confirm exclusive talks did take place between myself and Ben Banks of Not the Old Firm. He was a fantastic resource. He pointed out the efforts of Josh Ginley. I believe it's pronounced Ginley. He's on loan this season, and he's provided a real attacking impetus. He's missed the last few games, but he came on against Queen of the South. Hearts do look very threatening. I know they're a tier below, everyone is aware of that, but they do carry multiple threats. As I said before, Liam Boyce is on possibly the form of his life. He's playing out of his skin at the moment. I mean, they've got Jamie Walker, Stephen Naismith, who is a long-term Celtic irritant. There's a few interesting things looking at Hearts. they're probably going to set up in the same way that St Johnstone did and Ross County did, with a low block, look to hit us in the counter. And in fairness, if I was the opposition manager, I'd do the exact same. There's an interesting couple of selection issues there. Christophe Berra's experience is obviously, very, very important in the dressing room. Whether or not he's actually going to start, Mihai Popescu and Craig Halkett have been preferred so far. But then, like Scott Brown, experience alone might get him in the team. And Peter Haring, I believe it's Haring, I like Herring with an A. If he plays, that'll be an interesting tussle should Scott Brown come on. The Austrian should be in contention to start on Sunday. He's a big man for Hearts. So, there's good info from Ben Banks. I'd recommend reading his articles. But Hearts are not a team to be taken lightly, despite being in the lower tier. And I think Neil Lenn's quite aware of that. He'll be showing plenty of respect to the opposition. It's not one of the easier teams we could have played for a Scottish Cup final on form. On paper, yes, because they're a tier below, but they've still got plenty of good players, so we need to be careful.
Probably our toughest opposition since going to Easter Road about whatever that was a month ago. We've got a lot of internationals in that team. Michael Smith, Liam Boyce, Craig Gordon, Christophe Berra, Stephen Naismith, and even the players who aren't ex-internationals or internationals at all. Andy Halliday is, as much as we had a lot of laughter at his expense a few years ago, he's a decent player for Hearts level. And also I like Craig Halkett. I think Craig Halkett's a great player. He was really good at Livingston, and with Scotland not having great options at centre back, who knows, maybe he's a future Scotland international. So they've got a good squad there. It's going to be a tough game. There's no doubt in that. Pat O, anyone got nightmare of us losing this 1-0 to a set piece? Please no. Please don't put that kind of thought in our heads, Pat, a couple of days before a cup final. That is the stuff of nightmares indeed. I've got a couple of wee other things I want to touch on before the end of the video. First of all, our record against Hearts. I've got it up there. So this is our last 10 games against the Jambos. We've won 9 of them, lost 1, scored 26 in that time, and conceded 6. The one we lost was early on in a season at Tynecastle under Brendan Rodgers, when we lost 1-0. Kyle Lafferty scored a kind of goal just after half time, if memory serves me correctly. So I suppose 9 wins from 10 ain't bad. Euan?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to remember when they beat us 4-0. I think it was the Harry Cochrane game. I know he's on loan at Montrose at the moment, so thank God he's not playing tomorrow, because I think he's class.
No one's playing tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a good record. Sunday. That's a test.
Sorry,
That's a test.
I couldn't resist. Aye.
No, in the live environment, in the live arena, you've got to be, you have something about you. That was a test you passed. No, it's a good record. It's a great record, but it's one you need to expand on Sunday. Otherwise, it doesn't really mean an awful lot. And again, on paper, you'd expect Celtic to win this one, but defending set pieces. Now you mention it, hopefully, Duffy and Julian have got a bit more about them. The defence looks a bit more organised than it did before. Obviously, that's going on a small sample size, but I think there's more awareness set pieces, and we actually look clinical attacking set pieces, which is the difference. David Turnbull's delivery in at the box is superb. Makes a real difference from Ryan Christie putting it into the first defender's midriff. As much as they've got threats, we've got a good record against them, as you said, and we should be looking to win this game, but there's absolutely no room for complacency either. So.
Definitely. The other thing I wanted to bring up was our recent record at Hampden, and this is what it looks like. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Hampden played 14, so this is our last 14 games. Played 14, obviously. Won all of them. Scored 34 goals, conceded just 6, and the last defeat was the one against Rangers back under Ronnie Dyler in April 2016. Probably worth reinforcing that stat, because it's a stat we all know, but it's probably worth reinforcing that, given how disappointed we were and how horrible a day it was against Ross County last month or whatever it was earlier.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. that we still, when it comes to the crunch time and we get to the big games at Hampden, that is a formidable record, and we haven't lost since before Donald Trump was in power, so that kind of shows how long ago it was. But in a serious point, for Hearts coming to Hampden, they might as well be going to Celtic Park on Sunday, because our record at Hampden is phenomenal, and we must have a bit of an advantage going into the game just off the back of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a really, really strange cup final. Everyone knows that. But I think these two particular sets of supporters, I don't like giving any credit to Hearts if I can avoid it, but their fans are rowdy. They bring a really, really good atmosphere to Celtic Park. Obviously playing at Tynecastle's a nightmare. So it's going to be maybe advantage Celtic having that, having that crowd at home. But yeah, I still remember, I mean, it sounds like it was so long ago, but it doesn't feel that long ago since the idea of going to Hampden absolutely terrified me. We just had such a dismal record in semi-finals and finals at the start of the decade that still feels quite fresh to me, even though we've won all those games. I don't know if that's just natural pessimism or what it is, but yeah, it's a good record to have, for sure. And it's nice that we kind of lifted that hand in hoodoo, as we call it. So yeah, I mean, every reason to feel confident going to Hampden. It's just such a shame that fans won't get in, especially after everything that's happened this year. It would have been so nice to have fans inside Hampden for this one. So it'll be a Scottish Cup final like no other, but we've got to take advantage of the situation and get a result and secure a ridiculous quadruple treble. Sounds good to me.
Totally ridiculous, right? The big moment's arrived, Euan. Prediction time. Come on, what are you thinking?
My heart says 3-0 Celtic, but my head says I think they'll nick a goal. I think they'll nick a goal. I think it'll be quite like the final last year. I think it'll finish 2-1 to the boys.
It's exactly what my prediction is, because I was doing a bit of research, like working out all these various stats that we've had sprinkled into this video, and the amount of games we've played recently that finished 2-1 against Hearts. I don't think there were any last season, but the season prior to that, I think we had 3 in a row. There was a 2-1, the dramatic one at Tynecastle and Lennon's return game. There was the game at the cup final that we've touched on. And there was also the one the week before when we rested a lot of players on Flag Day and we beat them 2-1. So something tells me it could be 2-1. Wouldn't be totally surprised if Hearts scored first either, which kind of worries me because I don't have as much faith in this current Celtic team coming back from going behind as I did maybe a year or 2 years under Brendan Rodgers ago. So 2-1 for me as well. Would obviously take that, I'd be delighted with that. The boys podcast also got a 2-1 in there as well. Go through a few of the other comments I've got. We've got Aero 250, sorry. I'm going to miss it. Couldn't get out of work, but we'll be buzzing for the team if we do it. A trophy would be huge for us at this stage in the season. Yeah, Thomas, thanks for getting in touch. Really appreciate your feedback and your continued support to the channel. I agree. I think it's going to be massive if we can get the result on Sunday. You're going to be nervous, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, this is history. This is no team's ever done this before. So yeah, of course I'm nervous, but it's nervous excitement as opposed to the nerves I felt before the second Sparta Prague game. So it's very different sensation. But yeah, I mean, if you don't get nervous, then does it matter? That's
exactly my point. The point I made earlier on in the week. If we are not getting nervous about the thought of Hearts beating us to win the Scottish Cup with history on the line, if we're not getting nervous by the fact we have to win every game between now and Ibrox and probably win at Ibrox as well, then why are you in football? Why do we support the team? You need to get excited and nervous and be up for it, and I am massively up for it. Chris Tully, good on you, Chris. 3-1 he's going for, so we've got a more confident. Does anyone want to beat 3-1? Have we got a 4-1 there? Have we got a 3-0? Come on, it's turned into an auction, but we'll take it. On that news, right, before we go, Euan, a couple of wee bits of news. The first one is that today the channel hit the fantastic milestone. There it is of 1 million views. So we massively appreciate all the support we've got from you guys and girls on the channel. Remember, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, we would massively appreciate you doing that. But we really don't take the support for granted, and the channel wouldn't be the same without you. Final bit of news I've got, final bit of housekeeping, as I always say. We'll be doing the Celtic State of Mind charity weekend. You've probably seen this floating about on social media. All the various Celtic podcasts and Celtic fan sites and all that kind of thing are getting involved in this. Have each been allocated an hour. Delighted to tell you guys and girls that Sunday between 6 and 7 we will be on chatting about Celtic. We're going to record a podcast during that, but we'll be on live. You can't miss it. We'll promote it on all our various social media channels. That's ideal timing, isn't it, Euan, for a cup final party?
Yeah, for a cup final party, aye, yeah. For anything else, no. But no, it's an amazing cause. There's 4 really good charities that Celtic State of Mind are hoping to raise for us. So I get involved if you can. Obviously, it's just before Christmas, but if you can chip in any money, and it'll be good. It'll be really, really good. A whole weekend of Celtic content. What more could you ask for?
Definitely. And to finish the stream, Chris M, 4-1 if we take our chances early. Excellent, Chris. Come on.
I like it.
It's cup final weekend, guys and girls. Get up for it. We apologise for some of the technical difficulties at the start of this, but we got there in the end. Thank you for all your continued support. Thank you, Euan, for getting involved. And we'll speak to you very soon. Take care and hail, hail.